Hello, this is the Bumble BWhoop Pro. This is a retail quad. You can see it has some similarities to a character you may have seen before on TV or movies. And it's got a little bit of a fancy styling there on the front. A little bit like a car. Maybe it's supposed to be Bumblebee, and those are open air vents in there. Let's plug this in. A few features on the radio before we go into it. You do have sticks and you do have thumb pads. You can swap those out. I chose the longer sticks. To change your rates, how fast it turns, pitch and yaw and roll, you press down on this. There's a little clicking feature. And then on this side, you have the clicking feature for a flip or a roll. So you press down and then you give it a direction and it will do a roll or a flip in that direction. This is your takeoff and landing button up here at the top, and then we have our trims as well. Let's turn it on and take a look. So you can see the props are already spinning. Let's take off with the top of this button. Maybe. Didn't take off very high. The stick is centered so the throttle doesn't go down. It'll stay at that position. Pretty stable right out of the box, huh? Well, technically I have flown this a few times. Let's take a look. Bring it up a little higher, get it in straight view of the camera. Straighten out the nose. That's your roll rate, your pitch rate. Now let's change our rate. So 2 beeps, this should be our medium rates. Yeah, it gets more aggressive. You can see the altitude hold feature sags a bit when you go full stick. And let's not forget the yaw. Pretty smooth and even. Let's go for 3 beeps. Oh yeah, that's super aggressive right there, isn't it? You actually hear the props kind of ripping through the air. Almost hit the wall. Let's check the yaw. It's ever so slightly faster. Let's go down to the lowest, check the yaw because I forgot to do that. Oh, that's real slow. I'm going to go back to medium. Now let's do a flip. So it gains some height. Let's do a roll, or I guess we already did a roll. Let's do a flip now. Pretty fair job right there. Just practicing some figure eights, coordinated turns. Kind of want to... Oh, that's always trouble. Get it too close to the ceiling, it'll get stuck. One thing I do like with these longer sticks and the rates that they've got on here, it's not real, well, at least in this view, it doesn't look real jerky. And they have got a plug underneath the canopy so you can just plug in a camera and VTX for FPV fun. So you technically don't have to do any soldering at all. You just get a little piece of foam tape or something out and secure the camera down, and we could FPV this, which we will do. But let's see how long it flies. Oh, let's do a true backflip this time. Oh, that was real close. Whoa! Tried to bring it down right at my face. Got a close-up view right there. If you're just starting off, I would encourage you to get the nose away from you And then just practice going left and right and bringing it back to center and forward and back. So you go left, bring it back, forward. And then after you get all those directions done, if you're real comfortable flying it that way, then you kind of want to do a 4 square. So you go left, then you go forward, and you go right, and you go back, and you go left. And then you can start to work into yaw, which controls your nose on which way you're going. So if I go this way, now forward takes me over there, and I rotate the yaw to the left, maintain a little bit of forward, and so forth. Oh, I see the light went out. I'm getting a slow flash. Let's see if it'll do a flip now. Nope, no flips. So we're getting LVC now. Let's see how long she'll fly with the LVC warning on. Oh, bumped the TV. Good thing we got those hoops on there. No harm. I think it just landed itself because I didn't do that. Okay, so that is the line of sight for the Bumble BWhoop Pro. Pretty good. Pretty happy with that. Let's put the camera on it and see what it does then.
As we head into this FPV flight, be patient with me here. I need to get a little bit acclimated. It seems like with just about every new vehicle I fly, it takes my fingers or thumbs, in this case my brain and my eyes, a little while to get acclimated. But as you can see, it lifts the camera just fine. It does have self-leveling, so that's some of the bobbing you see there. I'm kind of adjusting to that where you let off the stick and the machine goes back to level, so keeping forward flight consistent and smooth is not real good right now, but I get a little better. That turn wasn't terrible there. I'm flying on the lowest rate, and it's doing pretty well. And the control reception we'll test here as we go down to the basement. Almost hit the ceiling there. But normally with these off-the-shelf quads, you kind of suffer from control range limits, but that does not seem to be the case here. We're down in the basement. You know, we're going to fly and bump into the couch there a little bit, and we're also going to go into where we have the floor and a couple of walls separating us. It's dark in here. This would be a little bit of a judgment of the camera, but we're not really looking at the camera. You can buy any camera that you want. As I said in the line of sight footage, you just need to make sure that you have a camera that has a plug on it, which many of them do. And you do that because the machine already comes pre-soldered with a plug. So if you want to transition this away from being a line of sight into a flyer that you can do FPV with, maybe you have a screen or some goggles, you can do that without warming up your iron or getting your solder out. It's just plug in and go. Find your channel on your VTX and get in the air. We get pretty long flight times, as I showed on the screen. You'll see a little later on the screen that when we're carrying the extra weight of the camera, which weighs about 3.6 grams, that we also cut down on our flight time, and that's normal for micros. You know, weight is our enemy, and we've added weight here with the FPV camera. In my case, I've also got a little plastic mount that weighs about 0.6 grams, so we've added a little over 4 grams in total to the machine. You can sometimes decrease that weight depending upon the camera you use, but most of the micro cameras are pretty consistent around 3.5 grams. You can also, if you choose to try to squeeze every little bit of flight time, you can shorten the wire lengths. In my case, because I did use a camera with just a connector on it, you can shorten those down and solder them directly to the board where you see the previous wires, and you may save, I would estimate less than half a gram if you were to shorten the wires as far as you could. We're fairly deep into the flight, and you can see I'm still kind of bobbing back and forth, and in that lowest rate we can still fly successfully. In the next couple clips after we get done with this normal video, I'm going to try a flip, but I've waited too long. Apparently the LVC is already kicked in and we are unable to do a flip, but we'll do that in the next clip. But as I was saying, in the next clip after I show the flip, we'll also roll into the different rates which you can fly at. Initially, I was a little bit surprised because when I did the yaw testing in the line of sight, I thought the yaw was going to be too slow to do a coordinated turn. A coordinated turn is where you give it some roll and some yaw at the same time, so your opposite thumbs are just kind of doing the opposite thing to get it to turn around a corner and be nice and smooth rather than moving at a diagonal angle. But it works out pretty well. They've kind of, in my opinion, again, for an off-the-shelf vehicle, the yaw rate and the pitch and roll rate seems to be pretty well dialed in to where you can get a pretty smooth flight. Of course, that's subjective. Some people might want a lot more axis over the other. As you can see there, we're getting ready to end this flight because the flight time is on screen. And there we are. So here's our flip. Whoop! You can see it didn't really recover all that well with that extra weight. And now I'm going to switch into the rates. We're in the second rate here. This is the medium rate. And you can definitely tell the speed picks up. So if your skill set is there, you can whiz this thing around a little higher rate of speed. As I switch into the higher rate here in a moment, it's nearly out of control, but kind of fun because with that altitude hold feature, it's a little bit more of a challenge for someone like myself who's used to flying more hobby-grade equipment to control the altitude. I'm used to having that stick input where I don't have to pull the throttle stick down. It just naturally comes off as I ease it up and back, kind of feathering it. This is where I'm changing into the highest rate. And watch this, it's going to get hairy real quick. Almost hit the door jamb there. And I'm trying to fly it at full stick, but I'm not all that successful at this rate. But you can definitely see how the different rates handle there and how you may need to ease into these things if you're just starting out on your FPV journey. It does look kind of abrupt or choppy, and that's just the nature of self-leveling. If that bothers you a great deal, that's just kind of the nature of the retail grade equipment, that it self-levels a lot. And you'll get used to that to where you'll keep your thumbs in more consistent positions, mainly forward, and you'll ease into the right and left for your roll. But that gives you an idea how you can fly. If you've got any comments or questions, please leave those in the section down below. I appreciate your time, and thanks for watching.